Hello everybody, so this is a new video on HIMS. Is HIMS in trouble? Novo says stop. Novo says cease selling GLP-1s. And of course, this new fear for HIMS stock, and who knows if the stock is going to be down 10% on this tomorrow, I don't know. This new fear was unlocked by On The Pen. Thank you so much for reporting this. Apparently, they received letters. Apparently, Novo is sending letters saying you got to stop selling the compounded GLP-1s, as if they did not know that already. Trust me. All of the compounders know. They noticed the stock the day the FDA updated this shortage list as not in shortage for semaglutide. They saw that, and so is this a fear tactic? I have no idea. Or do they have to do it because otherwise they can't say that they ask them to stop? I have no idea what this is going on. But in my view, HIMS is in the clear. They never said they intended to keep selling. They never ever said that. We'll continue to monitor and we comply with the regulatory requirements related to GLP-1 shortages. And they also said, the CEO said himself, we're going to have to start notifying customers in the coming months that they will need to look for alternative options in the commercial dosing space elsewhere, and that's just the way it is. And the deadline appears to be, but it is, the deadline is May 22 for outsourcing compounders. And so it looks like they're going to have to stop in May. After May, it will be over. The deadline appears to be May 22. This may still change. I don't know when they're actually going to stop. This could still change. But anyways, for now, it's clear that they follow a process, and it's May 22, and they have no reason to stop earlier, right? The FDA has published the date. It's 3 months from the end of the shortage. I see no reason for them to stop earlier. They're going to comply with the law, and they'll stop on the day. But you see, a lot of things could happen. One of the things that I fully expect to happen, no financial advice, but it's just me, is I expect the Office of Outsourcing Facilities Association, the OFA, so Outsourcing Facilities Association, I expect them to sue the FDA over the shortage is over claim. And this is exactly what they did for Tirzepatide. When the FDA say, Tirzepatide is not a shortage anymore, the Outsourcing Facilities Association sued the FDA, say, well, look, Tirzepatide is still in shortage. They, do a census of all of the pharmacies, and they look around, and they have it notarized, and they're like, look, this was not available there and not available here, and in this part of the country it's not available. And that's how they did their suit against the FDA. And I expect, no financial advice, but I expect that the OFA will do a similar thing against the FDA for semaglutide, and the FDA will have to prove that semaglutide is actually not in shortage. Again, that's the situation that happened to Tirzepatide. Given how similar Ozempic and Tirzepatide are, I expect it to be no different. Tirzepatide is slightly more effective apparently, but not that much, just because of that dual action compounding. I think most customers are happy with either Tirzepatide or Ozempic. Anyways, Lilly did the same thing. Sued. I shouldn't use the term sued, but they sent letters. Right? Lilly sent letters to Tirzepatide compounders on October 24th, and of course, in the meantime, the OFA versus FDA suit went on, and during the time of the lawsuit, no enforcement is going to happen until the issue is resolved. And of course, the suit parties, are still selling Tirzepatide long after the 3-month period to end. And Mango, of course, denied, strongly refutes. This is, language of CEOs and lawyers. And of course, what do you see? This is a screenshot of as of today. Mango, because I guess it's pronounced like that, Mango is still selling oral Tirzepatide, because there's a lawsuit right now, and the OFA claims Tirzepatide is still in shortage. And my guess is that the OFA will claim that semaglutide is still in shortage. The moral of the story is that, yes, the patent protection, the FDA patent protection, drug exclusivity, that's a great moat, right? In theory, that's a great moat. In practice, it is still a great moat, but it is a moat that moves at the speed of law. And how speedy do you think the law is? Is it 5 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 7 years? Does it depend? The law moves very slowly, and we live in a world where 3 years, 5 years, 7 years is more than enough time for you to disrupt a legacy player, a legacy industry. So yeah, in theory you have protection, but that's protection at the speed of law, and it could take years for them to officially run out of appeals. I'm talking about the OFA here, right? The Compounders Association. It could take them years for them officially to run out of appeals. The speed of law is stuck in the 20th century, and like I said, in that time, you have enough time to entirely disrupt an industry. By the time all recourses, all appeals are done, you have enough time to disrupt an industry. They're protected, but they're protected at the speed of law, which is why I much prefer patents such not patents but moats. I much prefer moats such as network effects or trade secrets, right? If you have a network effect, you can't copy that, and if you have a trade secret, as long as it's if we didn't know how to make peptides, there wouldn't be so many compounded therapies out there. The problem is that peptides are fairly easy to make. You can buy all of the equipment on Alibaba and try to make your own peptide. That's why people are making retatrutide right now, which is not even FDA approved. They're making it with $2,000 worth of equipment they bought on Alibaba, because peptides are one of the easier forms of drugs to make. If you make a drug that's very difficult to make and you make it in a trade secret, for example, Botox is in that rank. We still don't have copies of Botox. Why? Because it's protected by a trade secret. So anyways, yeah, it's a moat. So you're gonna have years of lawsuits. That's why I wouldn't be so sure they're really gonna have to sell May 22. Right now, it seems like they're gonna have to sell May 22, but who knows what the law is going to be saying in a few months. So this stock will remain volatile. And I think, by the way, that the 21st century customer, the customer that is used to being king and queen, the 21st century customer that Amazon taught the customer to behave like a king and queen. That customer is generally outraged by 20th century moats, and spending any time on social media or spending any time on Reddit trying to read about Ozempic, trying to read about GLP-1s on Reddit gives you a sense that, and the words they use are not tender words. Where people are very upset, and people are showing and sharing their distress that they can't afford the branded drugs, and these patients actually love compounders like Hims and the like, because they can afford $159 a month. They can't afford more than $1,000 a month. The talk of the town right now among those distressed patients, based on my reading, is that they are saying they have B12 deficiency in order for them to still get the compounded medication, because if you need to customize a pill to a patient, if a compounder customizes the pill to the patient, you can still sell a compounded drug. And could patients who have B12 deficiencies, could they still be eligible to potentially receive the compounded medication that is much, much, much cheaper? And so are we going to find that a lot of people now have B12 deficiencies, right? It's a slippery slope. You got to be careful here. The patient ought not to lie, because if the patient lies, well, then what do you have to do if you're Hims? Do you have to actually test them to make sure that they actually have a B12 deficiency via one of the tests that they implemented through the tribe blood testing? So maybe this is something you have to do. Some people are saying, oh, well, really, you don't need 2.5 milligram, you need 2.6 milligrams. But I doubt this would hold in the face of the law. This would clearly be seen as an attempt to change the rules. Now if you need a very different dosage, instead of 2.5 milligrams, if you need like 3.28, then that may pass, because they only have 2.5 and 5 milligrams as commercially available. But I don't think 2.4 milligrams or 2.6 milligrams would pass, or at least I don't think a company like Hims would take the legal risk. I think B12, if you have a documented case of B12, if the patient submits a lab showing that they actually have a B12 deficiency, I think that could pass, right? But I think if it's just self-reported and the patient telling him, hey, I have a B12 deficiency, and they just say that because they want to get the drug on the cheap, I think that wouldn't pass. So maybe Hims could sell the compounded drugs to patients who actually have a medical need. But if I were Hims, I would document that, because, if there's a lawsuit, you better have it documented. That's what I would do if I were Hims. I will conclude this video too by giving kudos to Lilly. Kudos to Eli Lilly. I think Lilly has a step in the world of customer satisfaction. They also have, unfortunately, still one step in the world of moats and in the world of, sending letters to companies who still continue to sell the compounded drugs. But they have one step in the right direction, as in the case of Lilly. And of course, they dropped their prices a lot. And so big kudos, because this drug used to be close to $2,000 a month in their very simple format without the injection pen. Those injection pens, by the way, are going to be coming off patent in 2026, I believe. So that's going to be another story. But anyways, just the vial, just the single dose vial, I gotta give him kudos for dropping the price to $349 for the entry-level GLP-1. You are just about twice, a little more than 2x more expensive than the unbranded medication. That's a lot of effort from Lilly, and so I have no problem giving them a kudos for that. I think that's a much healthier way to compete. Will Ozempic do the same thing? Will they lower it from $1,700 to $350 a month or $400 a month? Will they do that? I don't know. I doubt it, because I'm surprised Lilly did that. But kudos to Lilly, and you can see that when these companies adopt a pro-consumer behavior, or when they care about their reputation, these companies actually are able to do business. And Ro partnered with Lilly in order to sell the Zepbound, the actual brand with Lilly, offer authentic medication authorized by Lilly. And so on the call, they asked the Hims CEO, Andrew Dunham, they asked, well, do you want to do that? Do you want to do like Ro? Do you want to sell the branded medication? And according to the CEO, they do. The problem is there's not the volumes. They don't have the volumes. And if you know anything about Hims, yeah, they don't have the volumes because they have more than 50% market share. I think it's just a tad under, I can't remember exactly. It's about 50% market share in the telehealth business, right? Ro is something about 10%. Hims is 50%. So they say they don't have the volume. Hims says they don't have the volume. And so this is something that also could come up in case there's a complaint saying, oh, well, I want to do like Ro, but you don't have the volume. You don't have the volume to satisfy my demand. I do think these shortages, if they are officially not in shortage by the FDA definition, I think a lot of people are still having a hard time getting those drugs. And so that's what will be argued, and that's why this story of GLP-1 being allowed, not allowed, not allowed, and the stock of Hims going up, down based on that news, this period is not over, and I think we probably have another year of that. And hopefully them introducing liraglutide, the generic GLP-1, hopefully that's going to alleviate some of those fears. But I have a conclusion. My conclusion is GLP-1s are exactly 18.6% of Hims' total revenue. Yes, it was the fastest growing segment. Yes, it has a stellar growth in 9 months. But no, Hims is not just a GLP-1 story. Hims still grows revenue in the 40% range over the next 12 months without the GLP-1. Hims is still going to grow sales by 40% without GLP-1. If you add GLP-1 on top of that, you're going to get in the 50%, perhaps even 60%. But if you don't, they still grow the business super fast. Yemi, the CFO on the call, gave us an example of dermatology. Men's dermatology growing year over year plus 59%. Women's dermatology growing at 100% clip year over year. The growth story is not one of GLP-1. The story of Hims is one of disruption of every highly profitable vertical in healthcare. It's not just a GLP-1 story. They're going after profitable verticals, and they're segmenting these, targeted marketing, targeted branding, and they're going after the bread and butter of your local doctor's office, of your local clinic, who charges you $200 for a visit. They're doing that. They have a bundle, the pharmacy, the cost of the drug, the cost of the pharmacy includes the doctor visit. If you don't qualify, you don't get prescribed, which makes the customer happy. And they do that on verticals, and that's why the verticals is not just GLP-1. Yes, they have weight loss. Weight loss is one category. Of course, they got started with ED. ED being the blockbuster medication of the early 1990s. In the late 80s, 1989 is when Viagra was introduced. That was one of the very first blockbuster drugs. They're going after that with generics. It makes sense that this would go so well. Hair loss, similar old blockbuster. Rogaine was the brand, right, that was selling it. Same, they're going after that. Anxiety, you can probably think of a lot of anxiety drugs like Lexapro, etc. Very popular in their day. That's a highly profitable vertical they're going after. Dermatology, weight loss, menopause, birth control. Go see on hers.com, look at the birth control. They have a thriving website. It's pretty impressive. Yeast infections, heart health, HRT soon, right? Testosterone soon. Menopause, they just started that. And of course, the biggest deal pretty soon is going to be diabetes. Diabetes, when they launch it, I don't know if it's going to be a 26 or a 27 thing, but that's going to be a huge, huge thing. We could also mention heart health with statins. Now, they still need to grow that because right now they just pair it with their ED. There is ED plus heart health, but I still think they have a lot of growth going on in heart health for them. They're tackling the big, highly profitable verticals early on in a subscription business model, and that is the story of Hims. The story of Hims is much bigger than GLP-1s, even though tomorrow the market may not realize it. So anyways, this was not investment advice, not financial advice. This is just entertainment. I hope you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.